Get ready to dive into some deep stuff today, folks, because we're tackling Zhuangzi and his book, Wandering Freely.
Oh, that's a good one.
Ever heard of it?
I have. Yeah, it's one of those books that can really kind of shift your whole perspective.
Hmm.
And Zhuangzi himself was a philosopher who lived in China way back in the 4th century BC, a time of like intense change and upheaval.
Wow, so a long time ago.
Yeah, so picture a world where like the old ways are crumbling and all these new ideas are bubbling up.
Like a philosophical rock star of his time.
Haha, yeah, kind of like that. But instead of a guitar, his instrument was his pen, right?
Like that.
Yeah, and what he left behind were these amazing stories, allegories, and like philosophical musings.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, they challenge like everything you think you know about life,
Right.
freedom, even reality itself.
Okay, wandering freely, though, sounds pretty abstract.
Mm.
What's the main idea?
Close your eyes for a second and imagine like the feeling of complete liberation.
Right.
No constraints, no limits, just pure, unadulterated freedom.
That sounds pretty good.
Right. That's the essence of what Zhuangzi is getting at in this book.
Okay.
He invites us to like break free from the mental cages we often build for ourselves,
Interesting.
question our assumptions about, what's truly valuable, and embrace a way of being that's more in tune with the natural flow of like the universe.
Whoa, that's a lot to unpack.
It is, yeah.
So where do we even start with this?
Well, for this deep dive, you've given me a modern interpretation of wandering freely, which is important because, different translations and interpretations can shed new light on these ancient texts.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and the authors of this particular version, they've done a really good job of making Zhuangzi's ideas accessible to a modern audience like us.
So they're kind of like bridging the gap between us and Zhuangzi.
Yeah, exactly, while staying true to like the core of his teaching.
Okay, so it's not just a word-for-word translation.
Oh, right.
These authors are adding their own insights to help us understand what he was getting at.
Yeah, they provide context, explanations, and even draw connections to like modern day examples.
Oh, cool.
Which is, it's super helpful in bridging that gap between this ancient wisdom and our lives today.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what kind of crazy ideas are we going to see in this book?
Well, one of the most captivating stories is about Kun, a giant fish that transforms into Peng, this colossal bird.
Hold on. A fish turning into a bird.
Yeah.
Is this mythology or philosophy?
Uh-huh. That's the brilliance of Zhuangzi.
Okay.
He blends these fantastical images with these really profound philosophical concepts.
Oh, wow.
So Kun lives in the northern darkness, the symbolic representation of the boundless potential of the Tao,
And remind me what the Tao is again?
Think of it as the underlying principle of existence, like the natural order of the universe.
Okay.
And when Kun transforms into Peng, it goes on this incredible journey, soaring for 90,000 miles.
That's quite the image.
It is, right?
But what's the deeper meaning, like with this giant fish bird adventure?
It's a powerful metaphor for transcending limitations,
Okay.
Both physical and mental. Peng's flight, it represents breaking free from the constraints of, our limited perspectives.
Like the way a cicada or a dove might be limited.
Exactly, yeah. They can't grasp the vastness of Peng's journey.
I see how this ancient wisdom could be relevant today. We get so caught up in our own little bubbles.
Exactly, and that's what's so fascinating about Zhuangzi. He was grappling with these timeless questions about perspective, freedom, the nature of reality centuries ago, and his insights are just as relevant today as they were back then.
It's making me rethink my whole new year, new me resolution.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe instead of setting specific goals, I should just focus on wandering freely and seeing where life takes me.
That's a very Zhuangzi-inspired approach.
I like it.
Yeah. He wouldn't give you a rigid plan, but he'd nudge you to explore, question, embrace the unknown.
Okay, but I got to be honest, this Tao concept is still a bit fuzzy for me.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Is it like a spiritual force, a cosmic energy?
Think of it like a river.
Okay.
Flowing effortlessly downstream. That's the Tao. It's the natural order of the universe. The constant flow of change and transformation, So instead of trying to control it or resist it, Zhuangzi encourages us to align ourselves with it, to move with the current, not against it.
So wandering freely is about going with the flow of the Tao,
Yeah.
rather than getting stuck in our own rigid ideas and expectations.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
And this actually brings us to another fascinating theme in Wandering Freely, this relativity of time and perspective.
Okay, how so?
Well, Zhuangzi uses contrasting lifespans to illustrate this.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about creatures like the morning mushroom
Okay.
lives for just a day.
Wow.
And then you have beings like the dark spirit and great Tun who experience centuries like they were just seasons.
So our perception of time is subjective then.
Yeah, exactly.
100 years to us might feel like a blink of an eye to another being.
Precisely. And it's not just about lifespan.
Oh.
It's about recognizing that our human perspective is just inherently limited.
Wow. That's a pretty humbling thought.
It is, right.
Makes you realize we shouldn't get so caught up in the day-to-day dramas of our lives.
It encourages us to zoom out, see the bigger picture and recognize that our human constructs of time and success, they might not be as absolute as we think they are.
I feel my anxiety levels dropping just thinking about that.
Uh-huh. Good.
But I have to ask, how does this ancient philosophy help us navigate the complexities of, like, modern life?
That's a great question.
We're not all giant fish birds soaring through the cosmos, right?
No, but I think it's important to remember that Zhuangzi wasn't just a philosopher.
Okay.
He was a keen observer of human nature and the social dynamics of his time. He had a lot to say about governance, the pursuit of power, and the pitfalls of, clinging to worldly possessions.
Okay, I'm ready to hear what this ancient wisdom has to say about the rat race we're all caught up in.
All right, let's do it. So you want to hear what Zhuangzi has to say about this rat race?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, so there's this one story that really stands out in Wandering Freely. It's about Yao, this wise and benevolent ruler.
Okay.
And he offers his entire kingdom to a guy named Izuyu.
Wait, hold on. He just offered up his whole kingdom.
He did.
Like, that's a pretty big deal, right?
Riches?
What did Kissy say?
He refused it.
Wow, really?
Flat out said no.
Was he, like, just playing hard to get?
No, not at all. Izuyu, he saw worldly power and possessions as distractions.
Okay.
From true contentment.
So, like, he didn't want the responsibility.
Yeah, and he even compares himself to a sparrow or a water rat, perfectly happy with their simple lives, free from the burdens of ruling a kingdom.
That's such a powerful image, though.
It is, right.
In a world that's always telling us to strive for more, to climb the ladder, use rejection of power, it's almost like a radical act.
It is. It's a challenge to our modern-day obsession with achievement and accumulation.
Definitely.
Zhuangzi is prompting us to ask, what if true happiness isn't found in what society tells us to want? What if it's found in simplicity?
Okay.
In aligning with our own inner compass rather than chasing external validation.
That makes you wonder what our lives would look like if we weren't so focused on just getting more and more and more.
Right, and that's exactly the point Zhuangzi's trying to make.
Okay.
He wants us to examine those desires, question where they're coming from, and consider if they're truly serving us, or just keeping us trapped in a cycle of striving that never really satisfies.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, but let's be real for a second. Not everyone can just, like, walk away from their responsibilities and live like a sparrow. We have jobs, families, bills to pay. Like, how does this philosophy apply to those of us actually living in the real world?
That's where the concept of wandering freely becomes even more profound.
Okay, how so?
It's not about literally abandoning everything and becoming a hermit.
Okay.
It's about cultivating an inner freedom.
Inner freedom.
Yeah, a detachment from the things that bind us.
Okay.
Whether those are material possessions, societal expectations, or even our own limiting beliefs.
So finding that sense of freedom within ourselves.
Exactly.
Okay.
Regardless of our circumstances.
So it's not about changing our external world. It's about changing our internal world.
Exactly. Recognizing that true liberation comes from within.
From within.
Yeah, from aligning with that Tao, that natural flow we talked about earlier.
Okay, this is starting to sound less like philosophy and more like a spiritual practice almost.
Yeah, there are definitely spiritual elements to Zhuangzi's teachings, but he avoids, dogma and rigid structures. He's more interested in sparking a shift in consciousness, helping us see the world from a different perspective.
Fresh perspective.
Yeah, one that's free from, the constraints of our habitual thinking.
I can dig it.
Yeah.
So, wandering freely is not just a title.
Right.
It's a way of life, a way of engaging with the world that's open, curious, constantly evolving.
A beautiful way to put it.
Thank you.
And this openness, right, to new perspectives, it's key to understanding another fascinating theme in Wandering Freely.
Okay, what's that?
The wisdom of uselessness.
Hold on. The wisdom of uselessness.
Yeah.
Isn't that a contradiction?
It seems like it, right?
We're always told to be productive, to optimize, to maximize everything. How can something be wise and useless?
Well, Zhuangzi would argue that our obsession with utility and purpose, it often blinds us to the inherent value of things just as they are.
Okay.
He tells the story about Huizi, this government official who had this huge ailanthus tree growing on his property. And the carpenters, they wouldn't even touch it.
No.
Because it was too gnarled and twisted. Not good for building anything practical.
So they saw it as a useless tree.
Exactly. Right. But Zhuangzi, he saw it differently.
How so?
He saw the tree's value in its freedom from human manipulation. You know, it wasn't trying to be useful. It was simply existing.
Okay, I see where he's going with this.
Yeah.
It's like the tree is embodying the Tao, just being, flowing.
Yeah.
And the carpenters are stuck in their limited view of what's valuable.
Exactly.
Oh.
And Zhuangzi, he contrasts the ailanthus tree with other examples.
Okay, like what?
Like the weasel, whose agility makes it prone to getting caught in traps.
Okay.
Or the sacrificial ox, which is too large for, simple tasks.
So it's not about being completely passive or inactive.
No.
It's about recognizing that sometimes our greatest strength comes from letting go of the need to control, embracing that uselessness of just being.
That's it. You got it.
And that idea of letting go, of embracing the unknown. That's central to Zhuangzi's vision of the ultimate person, the spiritual person, the sage.
Yeah.
Okay, the mystical trio is back. Remind me, who are these mysterious figures?
They're not actual people, but more like archetypes.
Okay.
Representations of the highest states of being in Zhuangzi's philosophy.
Okay.
And what's fascinating is that they're characterized by what they lack.
What they lack.
Yeah, names, a sense of self, and achievements in the conventional sense.
So they're nameless, selfless, nobodies.
In a way, yes.
That doesn't sound very inspiring.
Maybe not from our modern perspective, but Zhuangzi's challenging us to see beyond these external markers of success and identity. These figures, they embody the Tao so fully that they exist in perfect harmony with the natural order.
Wow.
Free from ego and the pursuit of worldly desires.
So in a way, their uselessness is their strength.
Yeah, you could say that.
They're not striving, not trying to prove anything, but they've achieved a state of complete liberation.
That's the paradox at the heart of Zhuangzi's teachings.
Okay.
Sometimes the path to true freedom lies in letting go of everything we think we need.
It's like he's saying, stop trying so hard, just be.
Exactly.
But how do we actually do that?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
In a world that's constantly telling us what we should be, what we should achieve, what we should have, Zhuangzi doesn't offer a step-by-step guide.
Okay.
But his stories, his metaphors, they offer clues, glimpses.
Glimpses?
Yeah, into a different way of being.
Okay.
They invite us to question our assumptions, to challenge the narratives we've been told, and to explore the possibility that, maybe true freedom is closer than we think.
Okay, my mind is officially blown.
Good.
I think I need to, go for a walk in nature and just think about all of this.
That sounds like a very Zhuangzi-inspired response.
It does, doesn't it?
He was a big advocate for connecting with nature, finding wisdom in the simplicity and the effortless flow of the natural world.
I like it.
Yeah.
But before I head out for my philosophical nature walk, can we bring this back to something a little more concrete?
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear how these ancient ideas, actually play out in modern-day scenarios.
Absolutely, and that's what's so fascinating about Zhuangzi's work. His teachings are timeless,
Yeah.
They can be applied to so many aspects of our lives, from our careers, our relationships, even our sense of purpose.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right, let's explore some modern-day allegories that can help bring these ideas to life.
All right, lay those modern-day allegories on me.
Okay, so let's start with a story that kind of captures this wandering freely idea in the world of technology.
Ooh, technology. I like it.
All right, so picture this brilliant programmer. We'll call her Maya.
Okay, Maya.
She stumbles upon this revolutionary new coding language.
Okay, a coding language. What makes it so revolutionary?
It's like nothing anyone's ever seen before. Super intuitive, elegant. It almost seems to anticipate the programmer's intentions. But there's a catch.
What's the catch?
It doesn't produce any, like, immediately recognizable output.
So it's like a super advanced language, but nobody knows how to use it.
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay.
And all the other programmers, they dismiss it as a useless novelty, a dead end.
Oh, no.
They're so focused on, like, the immediate practical applications that they miss the bigger picture.
I feel like we're about to get a classic Zhuangzi lesson here.
You got it.
What happens to Maya in her mysterious coding language?
Well, at first, she's just as frustrated as her colleagues.
Oh, okay.
You know, she wants to create something tangible, something useful. But then she remembers the wisdom of that ailanthus tree.
Right,
Yeah?
the useless tree.
Yeah, that value can exist beyond our limited definitions of utility.
Okay, so she's not going to give up.
Yeah, she's not.
She's going to keep exploring.
Exactly. Instead of trying to force this language into existing frameworks, she just starts to explore it.
Just play around with it.
Yeah, with curiosity, openness. She lets go of the need for, like, immediate results and allows herself to just wander freely within the language.
And that's when the magic happens.
That's when the magic happens.
Okay, what kind of magic? Does she, like, crack the code and create some groundbreaking new technology?
She does even better than that.
What? How?
She discovers that the language itself is more than just a tool. It's not just for building programs, it's a tool for expanding consciousness.
Whoa.
For seeing the world in a totally different way.
So it's not about the practical applications, it's about the journey itself.
Exactly. Just like that peng bird soaring through the cosmos, you know?
Yeah.
Maya's exploration of this language opens up all these new possibilities, both in the digital world and in her own understanding of reality.
That's a beautiful metaphor for this whole wandering freely idea.
It is, yeah.
Let's shift gears a little bit. Talk about something closer to home, like relationships.
All right.
How does Zhuangzi's wisdom apply to, like, the messiness of human connection?
Well, there's a modern allegory that explores this really well.
Okay, I'm listening.
Picture a couple. They've been together for years.
Right.
Their relationship is comfortable, you know, but maybe things have gotten a little stale.
I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah, definitely.
So what happens? What shakes things up?
Well, they decide to embark on this year-long sabbatical.
Okay, sabbatical.
Yeah, a journey with no fixed itinerary, no set expectations. They just agree to wander freely together, literally and metaphorically.
So they're like literally wandering the world and exploring new depths in their relationship.
Exactly. They let themselves be guided by curiosity, by spontaneity, and a willingness to embrace the unknown.
Love it.
Yeah, they encounter new cultures, they face unexpected challenges, and they rediscover a sense of wonder in those shared experiences.
That sounds like the ultimate couples therapy.
It does, right.
So what kind of transformation do they go through in this whole wandering freely process?
Well, they learn to let go of those rigid roles and expectations that they have placed on themselves and on each other.
Okay.
You know? They discover new facets of their personalities. They rediscover the joy of just being present. And they come out of the experience with a deeper, more authentic connection.
That is so sweet. I love it.
It's a good one, right?
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a nice reminder that even in, like, long-term relationships, there's always room for growth, exploration, rediscovery.
Absolutely. And it highlights another key part of Zhuangzi's philosophy, this importance of balance.
Balance.
Yeah. It's not about abandoning our responsibilities or commitments, but it's about finding a way to integrate that wandering freely spirit into all parts of our lives.
So finding that sweet spot between structure and spontaneity, commitment and freedom.
Exactly.
Okay. But how do we apply this to something as, I don't know, challenging as our careers?
Okay, well, imagine this CEO. We'll call him Alex.
Alex.
And he's achieved, like, incredible success in the corporate world.
Okay. Living the dream.
Yeah. But he feels this emptiness.
Oh.
Like something's missing.
Haven't we met this character before?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's a common theme.
Yeah.
Even among those who have achieved what society calls success.
Right.
And it really speaks to the limitations of external validation and the importance of aligning with our own inner compass, right?
Yeah.
So Alex, driven by this unease, he decides to take a step back.
Does he, like, quit his job and go live in a monastery?
Not quite, haha. he decides to start this personal project
Okay.
that seems completely unrelated to his corporate life.
All right, what is it?
He starts volunteering at a community garden.
A community guard, that's an interesting choice for a high-powered CEO.
It is, right.
Yeah, what's he thinking?
It's a way for him to reconnect with nature,
Hmm.
to engage in work that's grounded, simple, with tangible results,
Okay.
and to tap into a different kind of creativity.
So he's like wandering freely,
Yeah.
but within the context of his own life,
Yeah.
finding a way to like nourish his soul while still doing all the things he needs to do.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that this seemingly, useless activity,
Mm-hmm.
it ends up having this huge impact on his work.
Oh, really? How?
He starts to see connections between the principles of sustainable gardening
See.
and the challenges that his company is facing.
He's bringing the wisdom of the garden into the boardroom.
You could say that.
I like it.
Yeah, he starts to implement like eco-conscious practices,
Okay.
focuses on building a more collaborative work environment,
Mhm.
even launches this whole new product line inspired by these principles of natural growth and abundance.
Wow, that's awesome.
It is, right?
Yeah.
The community garden, it became this catalyst
Yeah.
for a whole new way of thinking and doing business.
That's what wandering freely is all about.
Yeah.
It's not escaping the world, it's engaging with it in a more like conscious way, creative way,
Yeah.
more fulfilling way.
Exactly.
Wow, this has been an incredible deep dive.
It has, yeah.
I feel like I have a whole new perspective on life, freedom, and the power of embracing the unknown.
That's great to hear. And remember, the journey doesn't end here, right?
Oh, of course not.
Zhuangzi's wisdom is a wellspring of insight. We can keep coming back to it throughout our lives.
So what's the one key takeaway you want listeners to walk away with today?
Embrace the spirit of wandering freely.
Okay.
Question your assumptions, challenge your limitations, and allow yourself to be surprised by the infinite possibilities
Yeah,
that exist when you step outside your comfort zone
love it.
and into the flow of the Tao.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we'll leave you all to wander freely into the rest of your day. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those minds open to all the wonders that are out there waiting for you.